And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wrestle Pierce Raw Review. I'm your host, Ibu Wrestle Pierce, better known to many of you guys as Backup Hangman, and I'm joined as usual by Rob of Orlando, who was at last night's Raw taping. Uh, Folks, this is going to be the biggest Wrestle Pierce Raw review yet, because Rob, not only are we talking about a very eventful Monday Night Raw, but it was a very eventful and newsworthy morning. A lot has happened. I woke up to a shitstorm of news, and we're going to be here to cover all of it, guys. But folks, in case you missed it, The Rock has been announced as a member of the TKO board of directors. So The Rock is now on board with TKO. He's going to be a part of WWE at the executive level. He made the media rounds today. He was at the New York Stock Exchange. He rang the bell. He was on MSNBC with Nick Khan. Sorry, no, with Ari Emanuel. And he also made an appearance on First Take where he made some teases towards a potential match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So we'll get into all of that. But beyond that, folks, also TV rights deals. Monday Night Raw has been announced to be on Netflix. So we now know the destination of Monday Night Raw. It will be on Netflix, on streaming starting in 2025. And so that we have the Rock situation. There was a rumor earlier today about Kazuchika Okada signing with WWE and starting with NXT. And we have a bit of a rumor killer on that. So we'll give you guys the updates on Okada's situation. Kevin Patrick has been removed from SmackDown commentary. That broke last night and was confirmed by PW Insider and Dave Meltzer. So we'll kind of talk about that as well. But just a ton of news this morning, Rob. We have contract news. Finn Balor, his deal is expiring a little shortly after WrestleMania, so we'll talk about that. And even beyond that, we had a Monday Night Raw episode where Seth Rollins gave his update on the status of his injury with his knee, and so we got that. And CM Punk returned to Monday Night Raw and went face to face with Cody Rhodes in the Go Home Raw for Royal Rumble. So all that and more, guys. Please make sure to like the video, comment, send super chats, ask questions, give your opinions, whatever you want to do. We have a lot to get to today. It's going to be a jam-packed show. And like I said, the biggest Wrestle Pierce Raw review of all time. So with that said, Rob, how are you feeling? What's going on? How did you wake up to this news? And also, how was your experience on Monday Night Raw last night?
First of all, thank you. I already knew, unlike a lot of you guys, I already knew this was gonna happen. I went to Monday Night Raw last night. Got my little media pass. I went. No, I didn't do this, but I went backstage. I made some calls, made some changes. I said, what we really need to ensure that, a certain 6'4" Samoan finishes his story, not somebody else's. We really need a guy like that, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. I think we need him on the board of directors. You know what they say, Ibu? Anything can happen in the WWE. And it seems like this morning, from all assets and from all a bunch of different places, the WWE has changed not only in just management, they also changed in streaming. It's also changing in like I don't know what the fuck is going on. I woke up and the first thing I saw was the picture of The Rock's face, and it says new member of the board of the TKO board, and I was like, what the fuck? And I go read that fucking Raw. I think you touched on the Raw is on Netflix. I'm like, what the fuck? And so it's a whole bunch of shit. It's just a whole bunch of shit.
Brother, I woke up, Rob, and I had so many group chats flooded and the unopened messages, and I'm like, when that happens, I'm like, did some news happen or something? And I'm like scrolling through it, like it's just people talking about stuff, and I'm seeing so much Okada mentions. I'm like, what happened to Okada? And then I saw that earlier today, Monty Puro Resu put out that Okada is expected to be joining WWE starting with NXT. And I was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? Monty Puro Resu has no track record of breaking stories, and this appeared to be single sourced, but first and foremost, I didn't buy it because WWE is not going to start Okada in NXT. Okada's 37 and he's an international superstar. When he does, so if he does sign, which I'm already dubious about, but if he does sign, and he goes to WWE, he's not going to be starting in NXT. They'll debut him at a major show, like a Rumble or something like that. But even though that's not even possible because he still has obligations in New Japan for February. But nevertheless, yeah, I saw that news, Robin, and I'm like catching up, and I'm checking the timeline, and I'm seeing like Rock on First Take with glasses and shit, talking to Stephen A about Roman Reigns. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then like just in scrolling, I'm like, oh wait, Raw's on Netflix? What? So yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of fucking shit. We're gonna get into everything for sure, guys. Remember, guys, like the video, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Send super chats. We'll get into it. But before we get into your super chats, we're gonna go right through the first story. We're gonna get right through it, right to it. Rob, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is on board with TKO. He is now a member of the board of directors in TKO. Since the announcement of this, WWE's stocks have risen. The stocks
Oh
have
my
skyrocketed today.
god. Oh my god.
The TKO stocks have skyrocketed following the announcement of Dwayne Johnson as a part of TKO. So here's the deal. He was at the stock exchange today. He spoke on MSNBC. Very vague terms. They didn't have too many details about like what he's going to be doing and this and that. But the bottom line is he's on board. He's with the company, and he was on First Take today, and he was talking about how he's playing the long game and how this is going to be a big long game for him, and that he's just trying to build. He's trying to build the biggest thing ever. Stephen A. Smith pitched him the question about, well, are you going to face Roman Reigns? And he basically said it's going to happen. The thing with him was he basically said, I want to play the long game. I want to build. I really want to build something here, and I want to build the biggest match ever. And he did say that if I do wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, it's going to be the biggest match ever, and it's going to be the biggest WrestleMania ever. And he went on to say, like, that's no disrespect to the previous WrestleMania main eventers, but he said that just with the crew of guys and girls we have behind us, with us headlining, it'll be basically just the biggest show. And so he made those comments on First Take. And again, he's with his glasses and he's on board with TKO. And so a lot of
What a
teasing there, a lot
professional.
of teasing. What's up?
What a professional. What an inspiration.
How are you feeling about this, Rob?
You know, going from like, you know how he tells the story. Imagine going from like walking around with $7 in your pocket, brother. And now you're the head of the promotion that gave you a chance, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like it's just like he said, and also don't get offended by The Rock. You should not be offended by The Rock saying that Roman versus The Rock will be the biggest Mania main event of all time. Roman has shattered records throughout, regardless of what you people want to believe. Roman has shattered records throughout this reign, and The Rock is literally still one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood, and one of the biggest. Like you mentioned, wrestling to somebody, you say wrestling or WWE to somebody, and the first name they say is usually Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, or The Rock, or John Cena. It's those four names, right? And so when you look at it and you take this away from what we're talking about, it's like him raising stocks like that is so fucking crazy. Because remember, like the stocks have been plummeting a little bit throughout January, throughout the beginning of January. But like now that The Rock is basically a runs the WWE, that raising the stock could change a lot of stuff. I think probably for this Mania season, but if not this Mania season, and probably next Mania season. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Uh, I'll tell you this. This is gonna sound like cope. It's gonna sound like cope for sure, but I genuinely believe, Rob, that this match isn't happening at WrestleMania. Uh, the reason I say that is because so much of the 2K marketing is about Cody finishing his story, and so much of the on-screen storytelling about Cody is that he's not only is it about him not finishing the story, but it's also about like the very reality of like these Rock rumors. Like they're playing into the storyline and the reality of it. Like CM Punk last night basically said, like, look, right when you're at the finish line, after 2 years being the top guy, you're going to get eclipsed by a much bigger star than you who's going to take your spot. And it's so heavy-handed and so overt that it actually makes you slightly confident that they're going to do the right thing. And so that along with the fact that Rock is going to be a part of this company on a business level, and he keeps talking about playing the long game and building, and those are phrases that don't those that doesn't lead to any imminent type of match in my view. And again, this might be coping, but in 2011 he was at part of WrestleMania, but he didn't do the John Cena match. He set up the match for the year later, and he was the host of WrestleMania, and I'm pretty sure he was the enforcer of the main event, if I'm not mistaken. So I can see Rock. I think Rock will be a part of WrestleMania this year. I think he will appear on the show. I do not think he will be a part of the show at a wrestling capacity. I think he'll I think he'll set up something with Roman on the show or something like that. But I do think they probably go to Cody and Roman Reigns on the show. So
Uh,
that's my thing.
it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I see people in the chat saying that they might do Kazim. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but they say Kazim said they might do a one-off show for Rock versus Roman, and it's like that's not. People don't want to see that, brother. People, it's WrestleMania. You have to have two of your biggest main eventers of all time at WrestleMania. But taking into account what you said about how they might not do it this year. I would be all for if they don't do it this year. That, like, how when it was the Miz versus Cena and The Rock basically got involved with the main event to basically and use it as part of the setup to the next year. If they do that, then I'll be fine with it. But I really want to see The Rock and Roman live. So who knows? I might see it next year, but it's got to happen this year, brother. It's stocks are rising. The stocks are rising. It's
Listen,
got to happen.
if 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 he's talking about building, then you know, build for next year.
Nigga, we talking about building around me, nigga. We're not talking about building around all these other niggas. He said we talking about building around me. That's crazy. That's crazy.
We'll see. We'll definitely listen. They're starting the Netflix thing in 2025. So hey, Dwayne, you want to
Brother.
wrestle? Why don't you wrestle Roman on the first Raw on
You
Netflix,
want
brother?
you want to touch on that? You want to start
With
talking about?
Netflix?
Yeah.
Sure, sure. So in case you missed it, folks, Monday Night Raw has found a home. Monday Night Raw is going to be on Netflix. The bottom line is they are signed to a 10-year deal starting on January 2025. And there's going to be an option on Netflix's part to stop this deal at year 5 or extend it for another 10 years. So this deal could be super long or it could end fairly short. But that's kind of the gist of everything. Netflix will be broadcasting Monday Night Raw starting in January. Apparently, if you were on the subscription tier of Netflix where you have no ads and it's ad free, you will not have commercials on Monday Night Raw, and the wrestling matches will show you the commercial break wrestling, kind of like the fight feed in AEW. So when Raw goes to commercial, like they normally do, they'll pitch the commercial like they always do. But you on Netflix,
For finally getting to see like Gunther or Chad Gable match in full.
so that's the
Hmm.
thing. For Gunther and Gable matches, this is gonna rock because you get to see like the little things that they do in the breaks. For everybody else, you're essentially just seeing the chin locks and those types of things like that. But nevertheless, that's what you get. It's gonna be like the Fight AEW feed, where if you watch AEW on Fight, they'll be like, "We're going to picture in picture," and then like it doesn't actually go to picture in picture for you. You just see the wrestling and the banter and during the commercial break. But so that's what's Raw. That's what Raw is going to be like for the ad-free people on Netflix. For everybody else, like again, it'll be like Raw normally is, but just on Netflix. So I'm curious what the ads look like. But yeah, Raw's on Netflix. This is an end of an era, Rob. Raw has spent most of its existence on USA Network. It was on USA Network from 1993 to 2000, and then it went back to USA Network in 2005, and it stayed on USA since '05. So it's
18 years.
yeah, it spent most of its life on USA, and that partnership finally comes to an end. And now they're on streaming. This is the first major wrestling show to go to streaming, so it's a gigantic move and a big chess piece in this bigger media rights landscape that's kind of taking shape. Personally, I was sad only because I'm a creature of habit and I'm old school, and so big signs that like the times are changing, that cable's dying, and I mean, I get it. People move on with the times. I'm just kind of sad that it's already happening because cable's just an institution of entertainment, and it's been all my life I've known cable, so it's just kind of crazy. It's going to be a big adjustment. Also, I don't
Right.
feel like paying for Netflix, so
Right.
uh,
Right. And that's the crazy part about it is like you look at it and it's bro, like all my life, like Ibu just said, Raw has literally been on USA for me at least. I know when I was like younger, when I was first born, it was like on TNN or TNT, whatever, wherever it was. But like literally since I can remember starting to watch Monday Night Raw weekly, it's been on USA basically my entire life. And so looking at that and then looking at where like they going to Netflix, my whole thing is I just don't understand. I guess like the football ratings probably, but I don't understand why like they took up SmackDown, but they didn't take up Raw because they did that a few years ago. The first time when they had Raw on Mondays, SmackDown on Tuesdays, back to back. Didn't they say they're bringing SmackDown back to Tuesdays this morning as well?
I think that was implied by Nick Khan in one of his interviews because he was also on Pat McAfee's show, and I think the date he gave for SmackDown was a Tuesday.
Oh yeah. That's fucking crazy. I just don't understand why USA didn't pick them back up. Probably the Monday Night Football war ratings or whatever. But yeah, them going to Netflix is kind of crazy. I will not be paying extra amount of money. I'll probably get the ad free just so I can see some full matches. But I'm not used to like going to streaming services to watch live WWE content.
Very weird. It's very weird.
It's very fucking weird. Like unless it's like a pay per view, that's
Mhm.
fucking weird, bro.
It's
It's gonna be very weird adjustment.
I'm curious how this is going to affect the pay per views. I don't think it's fully situated, but I know WWE is going to be on Peacock at least for another year. We'll see if the pay per views go to Netflix. I'm not sure how that's totally going to work, and I do know it's been reported that they're going to do documentaries on Netflix, WWE based documentaries. They're going to produce some more, so that'll be interesting. And I'm curious how this affects the reach of WWE because streaming is not the same as cable. Paywall streaming is not the same as cable. But at the same time, globally, everybody uses Netflix. So the extra exposure to WWE, I'm curious how that affects things. But guys, how are you guys feeling, man? Talk to us. Send us super chats about anything you want to get into, whether it's Raw,
Yes.
whether it's the segments, whether it's The Rock being a part of TKO and Monday Night Raw to Netflix, or whatever's on your mind, because it's been a very eventful morning. And they're
Yes.
going to get into some of the other smaller stories, like some of the contract stuff with Okada and Finn Balor and Kevin Patrick. But if you have something to say about that, if you have anything to say about Raw, if you have any questions to ask us, anything you want to say about wrestling in general, send the super chats now because we're going to start going through a couple of them. And this, guys, is your opportunity to get some
Yeah,
more.
like
So run it up, folks.
ask me what the atmosphere was like at Monday Night Raw. Ask me how packed was it. Ask me how it fucking smelled. Whatever you want to ask me, we
Ah,
will answer the questions. We will answer the
that's
questions.
that's funny.
So,
Let's
but
get into some of them right now, Rob. Let's
let's
go
do
through these.
that. Andy, 200 rupees. Cody Punk felt relatable to the escalation of trash talk with friends while playing video games. Cody referenced AEW without mentioning it. The IWC is obtuse. Lots of subtext. Surpassed Eddie exchange, in my opinion.
I don't know where I'd rank it, but I thought the segment was very good. There was a lot of subtext there, and there was a lot of escalating personal tension there because of what you started to see in the segment was what Cody and Punk, the characters and maybe the people, really think of each other because they consider each other friends, but their true feelings were coming out, and as the true feelings were coming out, the animosity was rising in the segment. You know, Punk obviously in his mind, he sees himself as above Cody Rhodes. And in Cody's mind, he sees himself as the guy who acted on all the things that Punk spoke about but never fully got to do. And, you know, at the end of the day, Punk is like, well, that's cool. But basically, he told him, like, you never really actually won the big one, you know? So, like,
Right.
what does that mean? But yeah, man, Cody feels like LeBron James before he won the championship, where it's like people see him as the guy. He's the face of the league. He's the best player, but he has no ring. So can you call him a king? And that's Cody right now. A lot of the conversation around Cody is officially now like he's great, but he's this, but he's the man, but and the but is, bro, finish the fucking story. Are you gonna finish the story? When is that gonna get done? Because at this point, it's like, you know, you can main event and open Raw all you want. You can do this and that. You can win at War Games, but it's at the stage now where it's like let's start putting points on the board when it comes to padding the resume with some championships. So
Right.
that was my thing on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would talk about my experience of like the promo and like what they were talking about when we get into it, or if we even get into the show. But like the experience of Ibo, I was talking about it with them last night. I've never seen some shit like this before. everybody got up to go do what they were doing, but then as soon as the lights went out and they heard that wrestling only has more than one royal family, yeah, it was like everybody that was outside started running back to come get in their seats, bro. It was fucking crazy. So yeah, and that fucking atmosphere was crazy. People were loud for Young Punk, unfortunately, very very unfortunately, but yeah, it was really great to be there for it. I'll get into it later on in the show. Thank you for the super chat. Hush 499. Cody and Punk killed it. They gave us enough to get hyped for Rumble, but still have so much left in the chamber for their eventual feud.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the way they got intense there at the end of it. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna get an angle between them in the Rumble of some sort. So Will Chisholm, $5. It does feel like TKO needs The Rock as the new face and not Vince.
Absolutely. Vince was there at the New York Stock Exchange, and there was no media appearance by him. He didn't speak for any of this. He was just a background guy. And if you weren't looking for him in the picture, Rob, you wouldn't notice him because he wasn't doing anything. It very
No,
much
that
feels
ass.
he's just a body almost that's just going to be there until he's no longer there. And it very much feels like they're phasing him out, bro. The big voices you heard today. Triple H is tweeting about all of this. Nick Khan is doing the media appearances. The Rock is doing the media appearances. Not a lot of Vince stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure TKO would love for Rock to be the face of all of this. I think that'll be very good for their business, their bottom line, and their stock. And that's probably the point.
Thank you for the super chat. Hush 199. Blood back on WWE now? Raw on the streaming service.
I don't know, but hopefully, I'd like that. That'd be nice.
They'd already did
Can,
something like that with
can they stop muting holy shit chants? That's what I would like. Can we
yeah,
stop?
that's very annoying because especially when they do it in NXT, and so it's like it doesn't really flesh as well as it does on Raw. Like the crowd is chanting "Holy shit," but they got to mute the entire fucking. It's shitty.
Mhm.
Um, thank you for the
Oh
super
yeah, you
chat.
wouldn't know because you were there live, like during the big New Day angle, and you guys were chanting "Holy shit!" like you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh fucking brother, that fucking sucks.
yeah,
Hush 199. Cody versus Punk. Rock versus Roman. It could be the biggest WrestleMania.
yeah, that sounds like a great doubleheader for WrestleMania 41.
No, 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 no.
Sounds like an awesome doubleheader for WrestleMania.
No, I mean, this happening in Philadelphia, not fired you. That's not.
Listen, man, I think next year is stacked with those two matches. That's what I got to say about that.
Thank you for the super chat. Chi-Town Spurs, $5. I know this isn't the place, but can someone tell me how the Bucks firing Adrian Griffin and hiring Doc Rivers is a good idea? Wow. Yeah, Giannis gone.
Wait, the Bucks are hiring Doc Rivers.
Yes, they fired Adrian Griffin this morning.
I saw that, but where did the Doc Rivers news come from? Is that new? Is that?
It is breaking. Central released it 30 minutes ago via Shams. Doc Rivers is a serious candidate to replace Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee.
The way Doc just gets his way into like jobs is so funny, bro.
Yo, that nigga deadass said, "I'm retiring," and He's like, "I'm retiring. I'm
Team,
gonna just do commentary now."
teams with championship aspirations just go, all right, let's try Doc Rivers again, and it's like you don't have to do that. You really do not have to do that.
Doc Rivers with no Kevin Garnett and no Paul Pierce is pretty tragic. But thank you for the super chat. Patrick the Heel, 499, 5 bill Phil. Um I don't know. Cody killing the territory and getting them on Netflix is firing y'all.
Oh man, I forgot to mention Netflix is paying WWE $500 million a year for this
That's
deal.
crazy.
500 million. I think that's an 89% increase on their previous deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yo, that's fucking crazy, bro. $5 billion. I
Jesus,
didn't even the way they was talking about Netflix last year, I didn't even think Netflix still had a billion. Because they were talking about Netflix was going broke.
that's what I'm saying. That's why this is like preposterous to me. I don't know how this came to be, but I don't know. Yeah, it's insane. He is technically 5 bill Phil.
Not for long. Chi-Town Spurs, $5. The problem with leaving cable is that you can't flip through channels on streaming. No more back and forth between Raw and football or basketball.
I guess.
But the difference is between that and back then that everybody's like ADHD now is crazy to where like especially me where I'll have multiple screens on so I can watch Raw and other basketball games at the same time and I'm pretty sure that people aren't very indifferent and are like not doing the same thing. So
That's the thing. I could see that happening, Rob. Like I could like the new version of this is just what you just said, multi-screening things. Someone can have Raw on their with Netflix, have football on their screen, something on their phone. A lot of people do this anyway, you know.
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
thank you for the super chat. Christian Harris, $2. What's with the random Okada news?
let's get into that right now.
Yes.
Monthly Puro Resu put out a report that Okada was going to WWE and is expected by many, perhaps, to be starting with NXT. This got the timeline going. I want to reiterate that Monthly Pro Wrestling has never broken a story before, ever. And Sean Rossap asked around in WWE, and they basically said if this is happening, it's news to us, and that it's basically still early in the process to determine where exactly Okada is going to go. So essentially, the idea that Okada just has a set in stone agreement with WWE to go to NXT is just not true. So
Yeah.
that's the deal with that. It was put out by Monthly Pro Wrestling, and this ended up being false. Dave Meltzer on his daily update said that there is no update on Okada. And so that's the situation we find ourselves in. There's no update. Okada claims, or people close to Okada are claiming that it's too early in the process to indicate where he's leaning. And I guess you got to take their word for it. So that's the deal with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't really see that. I feel like WWE like would do the Cargill style press conference. Not press conference, but press release for Okada if they really did land Okada. So,
Yeah, they
uh,
do a big rollout.
yeah, like thank you for the super chat. Black Yakuzu 94 $10. Great Raw last night. More about the promos and the in work, but the promos banged. Even Rollins, despite being overshadowed by Cody Punk, had a great segment setting up for him and Gunther.
I would say that Raw was an up and down show where the ups were ones that I really enjoyed. I really was into the Seth Gunther stuff. I loved the Imperium and New Day stuff. I loved Chad Gable's match. I loved CM Punk and Cody Rhodes' segment. The downs are I don't particularly care for the women's tag division, and this R-Truth stuff just isn't good, and it's not fitting in a main event scene. And I actually thought Priest versus Drew was very underwhelming as a wrestling match, and so that was that. But again, like I said, the ups on this show were like really high for me. Like
Yeah,
I really liked the big picture things, and again, it's easier to make me happy on a Monday night, Rob, when I get high end content from Gunther, CM Punk, and Chad Gable. That's my big three right there. So, yeah,
that's why like I said it like last night when I came home. I would call it a boring show if what I was going for was straight up ring work in professional wrestling. But I knew going to WWE Monday Night Raw that I wasn't really going to get that. And so like the things that weren't wrestling kind of and weren't promo based were kind of boring. Like Ivy versus Valhalla was whatever.
yeah.
I legitimately got up to go use the bathroom during Indian like the Candace versus Shayna and Zoe. It is what it is.
Because how can you
Um
possibly care? How can you
yeah, like I don't see the reasoning for me like
to
the
care?
women's tag division is basically like dead
Yeah,
unless
listen,
like
it's not going to go anywhere until Kyrie and Oscar win those belts, and
yeah,
hopefully that's
so
Friday. But it's just not going to go anywhere until then.
yeah, so like it wasn't really a boring show. It was just like this is whatever. But like yeah. So thank you for the super chat. Hush 199 07 Rumble ending between Cody and Punk, please.
Oh man, that'll be something.
Heh.
That'll be fucking something. I really think
We-
go either way. Like I thought Punk was winning, and I still think Punk's probably winning. But like they really are telling this good story right now where Cody, like it's almost like there's so many odds stacked against him right now. Like The Rock is looming. Is Roman just going to break Hogan's record? Is Cody just not going to reach finish the story? And that's very true. It's just very possible. It's just a lot of looming tension with all of that. And so because of that, I think, like I said this before, it would bring a lot of comfort and security to wrestling fans, Cody fans, if he won the Rumble, and I think it would be a good comeback story. But he also could just lose it and have this kind of like story arc where he's just like, maybe I'm just not him. Like if Cody was just like devastated that he didn't do this, and he's just like, I'm just not him, I guess. That could be compelling too. So we'll see which direction they go. But Punk and Cody as the final two would be tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for the super crush 199. Okada being the face of Netflix, very very funny.
That would be funny.
Unfortunately, it's not taking place. So yeah, that's all the super chats for now.
Is it?
Yeah, that's it. Pretty
All right,
much.
so quick update on Finn Balor, folks. So Raj Giri last night, formerly of Wrestling Inc., reported that Finn Balor's WWE contract would be expiring right after WrestleMania. Sean Rossap was able to confirm that his deal is expiring, but it's not quite right after Mania, but a little bit after that. So that's the deal with Okada. His deal is coming up. Did I say Okada? Finn Balor. Finn Balor, his deal is coming up shortly after WrestleMania, as confirmed by Sean Rossap. So we will see what happens there a few months after Mania. Before we move on real quick, do you have any opinion on that, Rob? Do you think, like, what do you think happens there?
I don't see Finn Balor leaving. I feel like this is like not like obviously in real wise career wise because that would be like NXT when he went back or NXT the first time around. I feel like this is like one of the best years of Balor's career in terms of being on top of a brand and in terms of like what he's doing with the Judgment Day because the Judgment Day are like despite what people might think the Judgment Day are very happy doing what they're doing. They're so happy doing what they're doing that they literally all got like the little Judgment Day what's that shit called? The little Judgment Day scale fucking little emblem. They all got it tatted on themselves. And so it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like yeah, so
They're a close knit group, and they're pretty happy with their roles at the moment. And
it
Finn has said in interviews that like he's having a lot of fun here, so it's a good
also
spot.
especially since they just moved his young boy up and now he's working with his fucking student.
I'll say this about Finn Balor. I believe he's 42 years old, and I think this is a good role for a guy like him. He's a good wrestler who he's not in his absolute peak, but he's in a nice spot where he can just be a heavily featured guy that works with the top guys. He's in the mix, and yeah, I just think it's a good role for him. But look, if he just if he decided actually no, I want to just go back to New Japan and do something, then he could have that option, and I think New Japan would feature him. If he wanted to do that in AEW, I think it's the rotation's a bit crowded there, but I mean he could do it if he wanted to. So we'll see what happens. I think it's up to how if WWE how quick they act in offering him. I think if they offer him just like a continuation of what he's making, if not maybe a slight raise, he'll probably accept it. So that's the update on
Also,
what's up.
yeah, he's a good guy that you can plug in, like especially like remember SummerSlam. No, they were like who we were like who's gonna wrestle Seth for the world title at SummerSlam, and Finn they plugged Finn in and they had a good match. So
Yeah, Finn is like that type of reliable dude that you can always just plug him in that if you want to plug him in that. And so that's what they've always done with him, especially in this regime where again, he's not the top guy, he's not the top heel on Raw, but he's very much a reliable player that they lean on.
I feel like at some point Finn Hunter's gonna give Finn another chance of the world with one of the world titles at least
I don't
because he never really got his real shot the first time around because he got hurt.
I don't know. I'm less I don't think that'll happen personally from on a world title basis, but you never know. You never know. But that's the deal with Finn Balor. His deal expires a little bit after WrestleMania. The next bit of news before we get into Monday Night Raw, Rob, is that Kevin Patrick has been removed from SmackDown.
Let's go.
Nothing on if he's been fired. Nobody has said he's been fired, so that's good. He didn't lose his job.
Yeah,
But he's been
yeah. Because if
removed.
he got fired, I wouldn't. Man, let's go.
Right. So just to just before anyone tries to get weird about that, but he's just been removed from commentary on SmackDown. The reason cited was just that it wasn't working out. Dave Meltzer confirmed, PW Insider confirmed. Uh, it just wasn't working out. They didn't see him as the guy. They were trying to test him without Michael Cole. They gave it a couple weeks. Him as the sole play-by-play guy, and they just felt it wasn't clicking. It wasn't working, and as a result, Rob, he has been removed. As of right now, we don't know who the replacement's going to be for Kevin Patrick. But what we do know is that he's no longer the lead play-by-play guy on SmackDown.
Hey, baby. We what happened? What we did 10 years ago. We fight on Friday nights. I wouldn't be surprised if they. Do you think they would bring JBL back?
I mean, they could, but he's not a play-by-play. Who's gonna?
Oh yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Like they could bring a whole host of guys back. Byron, JBL. These people don't do play-by-play.
I think Morrow is a free agent.
Yeah, I wonder what's to do with Morrow. I wonder if he's waiting in the
Morrow
wing.
is a free agent.
There's a very decent chance that he finally said yes to coming back, and they said, "All right, Patrick's out of here." It could have been one of those.
Oh my God! What if they did that? They were like, Morrow, you feel like coming back, brother?
Bro, it's super possible that like Kevin was just a placeholder until Morrow says yes. Maybe that's the case. We'll see. I know there's people that don't like Mauro Ranallo. I'm a fan of Mauro Ranallo personally. I think
Morrow,
he brings a lot of energy to the shows.
If you watch some of the NXT matches on mute, I will say some of the greatest NXT matches of all time on mute. I don't feel like they're as good as they would be without Mauro Ranallo's commentary. The way Mauro Ranallo took those NXT takeover main events and he took those not even just takeover matches, the matches on the network, literally just the matches on the network. The way he took those matches on the network and he just elevated them with his cadence and his tone and his excitement because he genuinely loved what he was doing.
Yeah, I think look, I get it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I just colorful and creative commentator, and he's very unique and distinct in an environment where there's so many robot ass commentators. And so I appreciated that. And I just thought he never was boring on commentary. And look, did he do a lot and do too much sometimes? Sure. But again, on a WWE show where sometimes things can be so like just robotic and formulaic, having Mauro Ranallo there to just be like, I don't know, just like the silver-tongued devil, Nick Aldis, is walking by with new machinations.
Oh my God, yo, he would definitely say some shit. The silver-tongued devil, the man that is the bane of Roman Reigns' existence.
Could you imagine him commentating for Roman? Like Roman's coming out, and he's just like, the head of the table, the leader of the bloodline, Roman Reigns is the lifeblood of the Anoa'i Fatu family. He is walking out right now with the bloodline, flanked by Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa, the enforcer. Sikoa was appointed by the Samoan elders Afa and Sika to be a part of the bloodline.
And he would make some absurd pop culture reference that has nothing to do with anything.
Oh my God! Just imagine it. Just imagine,
bro. Vic Joseph fucking sucks. By the way, I don't know why y'all bring Vic Joseph is much worse than Kevin Patrick, in my opinion.
Karrion Kross now with Scarlett, and he's just like, well, there are no Travis Kelce, but I'll tell you that. Just
bro. And I'm not like expecting fucking Vic Joseph to be like somebody does a psycho driver number 2. Hear him go psycho driver number 2 or some shit like that, like Excalibur does.
Mamma mia! Superman punch by Roman Reigns. The tribal chief is locked in. Cody Rhodes. He's got him. He's got him with a dusty punch. He's getting funky like a monkey.
Okay, Monty. Worse than KP is kind of crazy, but like to me, they're on the same level.
Vic Joseph isn't worse than Kevin Patrick, but he's mid.
But like they don't, bro. They both don't call it. They basically are the same level to me. I'll retract that statement.
Hit up Tom Phillipson, or I think now he goes by Tom.
No, he got it. No, I think he's signed, brother.
So that's what I'm saying. He's with TNA, but like maybe his deal is up. Because here's the thing, Rob. I feel like there's a deeper reason why they're moving on from Kevin Patrick. I feel like they know somebody's available that they want. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was just like they've known he stunk for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know we're not going through super chats right now, but hey, man,
Morrow calling an Andrade. That's what I'm saying. He's just both of these men. One of them is ungovernable, the other one isn't, and he's just him just doing his little things, you know. He,
Two former ungovernable athletes. They're
could you
in
imagine
the
actually
ring.
doing the Operation Dragon or whatever, which is his finisher, and then Morrow being like, it was his destiny there to hit that because it's a fucking Destino reference or something. It'd just be fun, you know. It'd just be Io Sky, the Joshi Judas, playing Judas here on Bailey. You know? I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun, and it's a million times better than fucking Kevin Patrick, who's a robot. So I think it should happen, and I hope it happens. And that's where I stand. Let's go through a couple more super chats, Rob.
All right, there's only the one that we just went through, Hush 99, Morrow calling in a Andrade Dragon Lee match. We went through that one. And
Mhm.
Expert Gaming 499. My dream scenario for Mania 41 is Cody versus Punk for the WWE title and Gunther versus Ilya for the World Heavyweight Championship. Rock and Roman is whatever to me. Well, Rock and Roman is whatever to you because you don't know the professional wrestling business. You don't know that the biggest match between the biggest stars draws the most money. And so it doesn't listen, WrestleMania, this is what people don't understand. WrestleMania is not a in-ring spectacle. WrestleMania is just a spectacle.
Okay,
On Hulk, oh
Rob.
no, but I'm not like saying it should like don't care if it's bad. But like Hogan and on is a horrible match. It's
I don't
literally a
think I think it's actually good. I genuinely
you
think
might
it's.
have to rewatch that one.
I did last year. I did.
Well, I haven't seen it in fucking like 8 years.
I
So
I saw it last year, and I unironically think it's a good wrestling match. But even beyond that, your point is that it's about the spectacle. And I don't disagree, but Rob, do you notice how when WrestleMania combines spectacle with match quality, how fucking transcendent it is? Because WrestleMania does the big pomp and circumstance and the pyro and the big stages every year, right? When WrestleMania actually has good matches, they're considered among the best American wrestling shows of all time. Look at Mania 17, 19, and last year, right? So spare me with this, like, oh, it's not about the matches. They have a great roster right now of in-ring talent. Give me some good fucking wrestling matches. I now I'm not shunning or hand waving or turning my nose up at Roman versus Rock. You know, if the match is an option to do, you do it. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna dismiss that. But
they call me Rob Geary in the chat. This is crazy.
Rob Gary, yeah, you're Rob Gary right now. Think about the money you would draw.
No, dead ass. That's the point. That's the whole point. Listen, regardless of what niggas are talking about, bro, the whole point of why we do everything we do is literally to make money, brother. Is that's the whole point of them doing what they need to do. I'm not saying that we should just eat shit with them being like, but you have to accept that WWE is going to smash no matter how you feel about it. So it is what it is, brother. I don't know what to tell you.
Look, if Roman and Rock is an option, you do the match. I would never deny this. My only thing is just my only thing really is I hope it just doesn't come at the expense of Cody Rhodes' story. So we'll see how they do it. We'll see how they handle. Expert Gaming, thank you, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it.
All right, and that's the last super chat for now.
All right. Well,
Um,
then, with that said, let's get into Raw. We're not going to go super in depth like we normally do, but we're going to absolutely talk about the big points here. Rob, you were there live. Seth Rollins came out in the knee brace, and we were wondering what was going to happen there. And he came out, and the fans chanted, "Thank you, Rollins." So clearly, you guys knew that something was up with his knee. You were aware that he's hurt. You chanted, "Thank you, Rollins." He explained that like he got the victory last week against Jinder Mahal, but when he did his normal moonsault, it was the lion salt. He said that his knee went back in just like in a weird way, and so he explains this, and then he goes on to remark about how he was just saying how like he's the workhorse champion and this and that, and he felt like after every victory he got stronger and that he might have jinxed himself. But he goes on to explain that if it was up to him, he'd be wrestling next week, but the doctors told him that he's probably going to be out for 3 to 4 months with surgery because he has a torn MCL and a torn meniscus. The crowd is devastated. Gunther comes out and basically calls him a great champion and this and that. And he basically draws the parallels between him and Seth. And he just wanted to let Seth Rollins know that he was going to win the Rumble. And Rollins let him know that he was going to vow to make WrestleMania. So Rollins is going to be at WrestleMania. He said that. And Gunther told him, well, that's great because I'm going to win the Rumble and I'm going to challenge you when I win the Rumble. And he told him, I'm going to target your knee. I'm going to target your back. I'm going to target all of these things and then win the World Heavyweight Champion. So Gunther has his eyes set on being a double champion and he's letting
Yo,
intentions be known to Seth Rollins. What did you think of this opening segment, Rob?
yo. Okay, so going from front, like beginning to end of the segment, right? Rollins coming out like those not are not piped in like them singing the song. We were all literally singing his song. It is what it is. Like as much as I don't like the professional wrestler Seth Rollins in 2023, 2024, the song is catchy and you can't not sing the song, right? So the energy was like dark though because he came out and he was like legitimately crying and I was like, damn, bro, this is actually kind of sad, bro. And then like he's talking and he's like 3 to 4 months, and then that opening fucking like the opening the opening what is it, a violin, right? Yeah, the opening violin fucking riff plays, and yo, the whole crowd fucking shit themselves. I shit myself, brother. Yo, that Gunther aura, Ibu, that Gunther aura is real. It legitimately feels like God is walking down to the ring when that shit starts. Like yo, the energy in the arena got different.
So
And
niggas,
niggas,
niggas were shook when Gunther pulled up.
yo, the energy in that bitch was different, bro. Gunther is like legitimately him. And when they got down there, the whole him and Seth going back and forth was awesome. I loved him basically going, yeah, you're this champion that you're the workhorse champion. You go out here, you have all these you have all these impressive performances, and every time they put you up against the toughest challengers, you always come out on the other end just like me. And so that popped me huge. I love
It's factual.
no, that ass is fact. That's why that's why they started. I wish Gunther, but I know Gunther's not like he's not one of those like social media guys, so he wouldn't have brought it up. But I wish he would have at least referenced that. You ever notice how whenever you have a pay-per-view appearance or a main event that I have to do a house show or I'm not at the show? I wonder how that is. That's very funny to me, but yeah, the segment was great, and then going into segueing into the match, yo, it popped me huge because I did not fucking see them coming. I didn't see them coming over the barricade. I didn't see them going like literally anywhere. The fucking New Day came out of nowhere and just tackled fucking Vinci and Kaiser, and that scared the shit out of me because I didn't know. I was like, whoa, who the fuck are these niggas running over? Oh shit, we got a $20 super chat. Let me go through this really quickly. Grant Hudson, with his deal coming up, do you think Hunter slash TKO would bring JR back? I don't. I don't. But if I'd have him do weekly shows, but I'd still have him do matches like Seth Punker, potentially Brock Gunther, Cody Roman too, etc.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jim Ross has been rejuvenated. He sounded good his last three appearances on AEW TV. I know traveling is an issue for Jim right now with his condition, but if AEW doesn't renew his deal, and that's totally up to AEW, he's down to stay. It's up to AEW. But if they don't, I'd absolutely like to see Jim Ross call the big matches. I would absolutely bring him out for certain matches at WrestleMania.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Thank you for the super chat. But back into Raw.
Yeah.
Sorry. Um, yeah, the whole experience for that was just great. Gunther is actually God in human form. It makes no sense. Like legitimately makes no sense. The type of aura that he has. But yeah. You want to go into the match?
Yeah, let's talk about it. New Day get the jump start on Imperium, and they're having a heated match. When they come out of commercial break, bro, this crowd is so ready for Kofi's hot tag. It's like
Oh yeah.
they're so into the New Day, man. And these guys, it's crazy, man. All these years later, they're still so over. They're still so fucking good, and they're still locked in and dialed in. They're not just playing the hits and phoning it in. They're going hard out there. Kofi gets the hot tag, and he's going wild. He's running wild. He does the double dives on both sides. So he's doing his thing,
The
right?
the crowd the part that really got the crowd invested was when I love heel tag team cutoff spots.
Yes.
in tag team matches. It's fucking like when they came around and they basically like knocked fucking not basically pulled Xavier out. The crowd was, I heard somebody go like, "Oh, fuck off," literally behind me. So that was fucking great.
2 straight weeks, Rob, with really good, proper old school heel psychology with the cutoffs on the tag, on the hot tag.
Yup, yup.
But yeah, so Kofi gets the hot tag. He runs wild. They're going crazy on the outside. They're fighting and brawling. And ultimately, it ends up in a double count out. And so,
Yeah,
was it a double count out or a DQ?
it was a double count out. It's a
Double
double
count
count out.
out. And double count out. And the match gets thrown out. And they go right to just like some hot action. They just brawl on the outside. Vinci and Kofi are going at it. Kaiser and Xavier are going at it. They're trading chops. They're slapping each other up. They're going in, and they start taking it to the crowd. And at this point, we're setting up a big move here, a big set piece, and it happens because the Imperium guys try to double team and throw Xavier Woods over this like big setup that they were standing on. And Kobe pulls them down, and they go for it. They get double speared off this big platform through tables. So
That one
this
thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say this was fucking explosive. This is exciting. The crowd is chanting "Holy shit!" This feud has been really fun. It's just animosity and fire and vengeance and passion. So this is a very electrifying opening 30 minutes of Raw, in my opinion. And this is the type of urgent television I want to see on the show. We're in Mania season. We should have more time for this and less time for like the bullshit. And on a 3 hour
Yeah.
show, we need electric and exciting things like this. Again, like I said, more of this and less of the nonsense. There's just too many talented wrestlers to just be doing the nonsense during WrestleMania season. So I loved everything about this. I thought this was fucking great. What did you think, Rob?
I loved this and like because I was like, yo, what the fuck a double count out? But then I realized, like, the longer it went, I was like, no, wait, they're gonna this is not just a double count out just for the lulls. They're actually like running an angle here.
Yeah, they're
And
doing.
so when they the spot it looked like fucking Kaiser and Vinci. I think it was Vinci fucking killed Kofi was nice. And then they went for the table spot and then they went up there and got him off. And then the fucking the the spot where they went through yo, that's one thing I will say about WWE is that they're really good at hiding when they're setting shit up because I did not see them set up the shit for the tape spot or get ready for it right beforehand before it happens. Uh, I did not see that shit at all. So it's very good how they use these stories and these angles to like distract you from being able to see what the shit they do. But yeah, the angle in person was very fucking cool to see. I love this version of the New Day. I love the pancake version of the New Day is cool or whatever. It's fine. It's for the kids. I get that. I understand that. But when the New Day are serious and the New Day have a point to prove, they are that's when they are at their best for me. Biggie when everybody was like, "You're just a tag team guy. You're just a tag team guy," and he sent to set out to prove he wasn't, and he won the Intercontinental title and the WWE title. I love that version of Big E. I love the version of Big Kofi Kingston where it was up against Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan when he was in WWE, but when he went up against Bryan and Bryan basically pushed him to prove that he was WWE championship worthy. And even with Xavier Woods, his eventual, I don't know if he's going to win the WWE title, but his eventual singles title win. I love when the New Day are serious and when they present themselves as a tag team that can be taken seriously. And I love the angle and everything else. It was very fun in person. So
You could totally have a chip on their shoulder about that because I think like people are trying to put them in like a legacy act box, and they're very much driven to. They're like, nah, bro, we're still like those dudes. Like we're still those dudes. We're still a great tag team. We're still a top end tag team. Niggas need to stop playing with us.
we were just brother.
And we
We were just tag team champions last year, brother.
exactly they pointed that out in their promo, and they were just like, bro, like we've done it all, but like we're still those dudes. Like it's not just some fucking it's not just some thing where it's like we're a legacy act, and they very much are pushing back on that. And they're also trying to show that like they can be a serious act, and you're seeing it right now. Like they can get down to it if they need to. Respect all that. They had a post match promo. Do you guys see the backstage segments live? Do they show those on the screen?
Yeah, they show him on the Tron, and
Okay.
like they show him on the Tron in the little top part in the middle.
Gotcha. I was just double checking. Yeah, so they had the backstage promo, which was very good. Jay Uso came and just basically was kind of like showing his approval of everything, but they were just kind of talking about that, like basically saying niggas need to stop playing with our names. And Kofi Kingston challenged Gunther to a match at next week's Raw. So on next week's Raw, the post Royal Rumble Raw, we will get Kofi Kingston versus Gunther for, I believe, the first time ever. And Kofi seems real driven to make a point here. So I think that'll be really good. So shout out to Kofi there. Um, and we also had a different backstage segment. This was interesting. It was Judgment Day, and Priest was on 10 because he just feels like Rhea Ripley's overstepping when it comes to going to Pierce's office to get matches done. And he was informed that DIY would be facing Judgment Day for the tag team championships next week on Raw. So that's two matches made for next week's Raw. Um, Priest kind of came at Rhea Ripley about all that, and he said that he was going to handle Damian Priest because she was coming at him saying, "You just want to pick fights with everybody," and he was like, "Nah." So he walked off, and Rhea turned her attention to Finn Balor, Dominic, and JD McDonough. And she basically was saying, like, she challenged Finn Balor to be more vicious, and so she challenged him on that. And she told the other two guys that like we wouldn't have a DIY problem if y'all didn't handle that. And so she told Finn like you need to accompany Dominic tonight for his match against The Miz. And she basically just said, "Look, I want to see vicious Finn Balor." And so that was the deal with that. Um, they did a match with Ivy Nile and Valhalla. I have very little to say about this. In fact, I have nothing to say about it. But what I will say is this: it went like 3 minutes. It could have been two. It could have been 90. I actually don't need to see this on TV. I like Ivy Nile. I think she's good. I don't think Valhalla should be a wrestler, and the crowd didn't really care for this until the finish when they teased something big off the top rope. And so she does the move. It was a top rope bulldog. I actually think she's capable of something slightly more impressive than a bulldog up the top. But she does a bulldog and she gets to win. Do you have any opinion on any of this, Rob?
Parents, I just think that, when you're raising children, I think that you should teach your children it's right to do the right thing. I think that you should teach them that it's a good thing to have respect for everyone and have respect for yourself. And with that being said, I think you should teach we have to, as a society, be stronger with teaching our children about hygiene and keeping themselves clean. And the biggest example I want to use for this is Valhalla. Listen, I I've never been more disgusted by anything in my life. Valhalla does not need to be on television. I just don't want Valhalla on television anymore. I'm sick of seeing it. Everything she's ever done is really bad. She's like I don't understand her role. It's just like runs around like fucking. What the fuck is that little thing from fucking Lord of the Rings? What the fuck is that thing called?
I don't know.
Somebody, please, in the chat, please remind me before we move on.
I have no idea, but just continue your rant because you were kind of going off there on
Like
them.
she's like the fucking Gollum. She runs around like fucking Gollum from Lord of the Rings, fucking growling at everybody. It's and she can't. It's like, and I'm not saying she's not gonna say she can't wrestle. I don't really care for her wrestling, so I'm not gonna say she can't wrestle. But I just she has negative aura. It's like I don't see her and get afraid. I don't see her and get scared of her. I see her and just get disgusted. I don't care. I don't care. This should not have been a match on Raw on the go home show. This could have, like Ibu always says, this could have been a Ricochet match. This could have been even a woman that they're not pushing. This could have been a Nia Jax match, which I don't know. Let me check the notes. This could have been a Nia Jax match. This could have been a Nia Jax match to lead into the promo with Becky Lynch. Or a Becky Lynch match to lead into promo with Nia Jax.
I'll tell you what, Rob. I know a lot of people aren't high on her, but I think the show misses Raquel a little bit. I think she was adding
Yes.
in the divisions.
Yes.
That nice in between woman that could just have matches with people, and she was solid. And she's a big person. I liked Raquel, and she's been out because of her illness with her skin. And
Also, Vinny, we saw you. We saw you, big bro. We saw you.
Yeah, Vince Russo. I don't know what you're into, brother, but clearly it's things that be investigated by the FBI. So that's the deal with that. I forgot to make mention, Rob. I don't know how many people caught this, but Damage Control were seen walking backstage during the New Day's backstage promo, so we knew that they were there. And
Wait, hold on. We finally a good from Sajizzle. Raquel Piper Niven is right there. Piper Niven is right there.
yeah, I'll take it. I'll take.
She was there last night because she the main event match was her against Gigi Dolan. Not her. Chelsea against Gigi Dolan, and she was at ringside.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. So the bottom line is, we're not trying to see Valhalla singles matches, even if they're 2 seconds. It's just not what niggas are trying to see. But there was a Nia Jax promo where she basically was just talking her shit, and she was talking shit about Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch came out to kind of give her comebacks. This ultimately ended up with Bayley making an appearance here. Bayley is a SmackDown wrestler, and yeah, Bayley makes an appearance. She declares that she's going to win the Royal Rumble. They end up having a fight about it. Later in the show, we find out that Adam Pearce invited Bayley from SmackDown over to Raw to promote the Royal Rumble. And so that's the reason why she was able to be in a different brand. She was invited to promote a pay-per-view, which is a suitable explanation for me. And I'm glad that they touched on that and explained that. And it wasn't just people can hop over from brand to brand. So that was cool there.
It was also cool to see Bayley because I didn't read the Raw plans, so I didn't know who was going to be there, who wasn't.
I don't know. Rob, I noticed there was a big Bayley chant that was starting up right before the brawl.
Oh yeah, New Orleans loves Bayley, bro. They love Bayley. They're like when I remember going to 34 and going to going to 34 and there were a lot of Hugger Bayley shirts. So yeah, New Orleans loves Bayley.
Yep. And so that was that. Dominic got a match with the Miz. Dominic got the win here. It's unreal how heated this was. The crowd was so into this, and they were so into Miz.
This is
And
the Rob Bowl, brother.
they were chanting "We want truth." They were into Dominic as a heel and booing him. They were into Miz's comebacks. Just everything about this was really over. And so Ibu loses to meme wrestling again. The Miz, it's so funny. Like, he does all this fiery babyface offense, and he tries to have these really ambitious matches. His work is very hit or miss. Sometimes it looks a little good. Sometimes it just looks so like loose and bad. But he's trying to do lucha libre here. And one thing you missed not being watching it on TV, Rob, was they kept talking about Wade Barrett kept talking about Perro Aguayo because Dominic was running
Yeah.
the boots, the legendary Perro Aguayo. So that was the thing that was happening.
Oh yeah, I watched the earlier when I woke up, I watched the TV version of this match.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
So this was a heated back and forth match that ultimately Dominic won. I have no problem with Dominic getting the win here. So if they want to cycle Miz down the card to kind of help Dominic out, that's fine. Again, this was very heated. What did you think about this one, Rob?
watching this live and in person was kind of crazy because I didn't know how this match was going to start. And so I'm looking down at my phone, right? But then I look up because the bell rings. And the first thing I see is collar noble tie up, then wrist lock, and then breakout, and then fucking
Arm drags
arm drag.
and shit.
And I'm looking at this like, are these the same two niggas I'm looking at in the ring from like a year ago? Like they're doing arm drags. Fucking Dom is hitting suicide dives. Fucking Miz is doing. And Miz hit a. I forgot what he did beforehand, but then he was hanging on the apron, and then JD tried to run up. He does a Hurricane Rana to JD, and then after doing a Hurricane Rana to JD, he goes up on the apron and does a springboard crossbody to Dom after the fact. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on this TV show? Why are Miz and Dom? And it just made me think about how you say wrestlers are always online, and they definitely, at least Dom, definitely see everybody like, huh, Dom and Miz on Raw, and they got all these matches on Dynamite. Huh. Look at what Triple H is doing, and so I didn't think it was like a spectacle, like a great match by any means. I don't think it was a 4-star affair at all. But I do think for the talent that was involved and the expectation that was made for this match, I don't think they exceeded it. But I do think that they did pretty well for what they were going for. I liked Dom the win over Miz, the veteran and the former WWE champion in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd still rather not see this, but I'll concede that it was very, very heated, and it wasn't like a disaster or anything. But that was that. Miz lost to Dominic here.
Also, can we stop doing the yes chants now? The yes kicks. He does
That's
not work there.
that's never gonna stop. But
Oh,
yeah.
brother.
So Miz loses, and then Finn Balor jumps in, and Finn Balor and JD McDonough jump in, and they start beating up on Miz, and they get saved by DIY. DIY runs out for the big save, and they chase him off. Finn Balor gets out of the ring. Dominic gets out the ring. DIY feed JD to get a skull crushing finale for Miz, and they want to go for the meet in the middle, and they can't do so because um, JD was pulled out of the ring. And
Yeah, that was really cool to see DIY. I thought because Johnny was in gear, and they weren't the dark match. The men's main event match was Miles Born and Brutus Creed. So I thought that Johnny was gonna be like the dark match after Raw or something because oh yeah, DIY got zero reaction because they're not using their fucking NXT music. They're using this fucking new music that casuals in New Orleans don't really know. So
I was gonna say when the theme first played, people looked at the images because it looked like they were trying to figure out who it was, like who was coming out.
bro,
Uh,
and that's the thing, bro. Like, because I know a lot of people from down here that went to like NXT takeover that was down here or NXT the taping, like they expect the old music. And when you play this new music that it doesn't really sound like it sounds like generic fucking tag team music,
yeah,
Doesn't yeah, so
brother, I forget that's their theme until it comes out, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's their theme song. So
we need Chrome Hearts back, brother. But I guess it's for the kids, so who cares?
um, I guess. Damian Priest was backstage cutting a promo on his match with Bronson, not Bronson Reed, with Drew McIntyre. Um, at this point, R2 does confront him to try to give him his money, and Priest said later, and he would come to regret that because the later that Truth chose was the worst possible timing. We got a backstage promo with Bronson Reed, and Reed said that when I declared I wanted singles gold in 2024, Jay Uso tried to counter me and essentially suggest the same thing. And so he basically said that like my path in 2024 is going to go through you, Jay Uso. And so he challenged Jay Uso to a singles match on next week's Raw. And that match ended up getting confirmed and announced. So Jay Uso versus Bronson Reed on next week's Raw. So 3 matches announced for Raw. All 3 of them are matches that have purpose, that have meaning, that have good wrestlers. So I'm happy with the card so far for next week's Raw. Coming up after this was the return of Chad Gable in the ring. We have not seen Chad Gable wrestle since I want to say late November, Rob. I can tell you guys, he was nursing a minor injury, but he's back in the mix. He's facing Ivar here, and this match was fucking awesome.
Oh my
Basically,
god, this is so awesome.
basically, the bottom line is Chad Gable has like a super high floor for TV matches. And if you give him like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 minutes, he's going to be fucking great. And that's what he was here. He was just doing his thing on some mini Kurt Angle shit, power spots. Ivar's doing a couple cool, quirky, dynamic big man moves. And yeah, man, they're just doing a lot of cool shit. Early in the match, Chad Gable does a diving headbutt. Ivar did the crossbody splash to the apron when Gable was had his body right next to the LED apron, and Ivar splashed him right onto it. Ivar also did a diving splash off the apron onto Chad's body in the ring. But yeah, we come out of the break, and Chad Gable does a fucking gigantic belly to belly throw from the top rope of Ivar, and just throws him off of it like a fucking monster. Um,
Yeah.
Ivar goes for a moonsault and it doesn't work. There's another spot where Chad Gable fucking he deadlift suplexes him, German suplexes him for a bridging pin. It doesn't get the job done. There's another spot where Ivar gets German suplex off like the second rope from Chad Gable, which is unbelievable. Chad got him in an ankle lock a couple times, and Ivar got out of that. Ivar got him for a tiger driver, Misawa style double underhook, tiger driver. The power bomb that isn't the finish. So this is at this point they're just kind of rocking and rolling. The crowd is chanting "Let's go Gable." They're getting super into this, and ultimately Chad Gable's going to attempt a moonsault. Doesn't get the job done because Valhalla came in and I think she spit mist in him or she did some fucking bullshit distraction. But after that, Ivar got Chad Gable with the moonsault splash, and so he got the win. And I thought this is what the show needed. This is what the show always needs. Chad Gable is a world class wrestler. He's one of the best wrestlers in the company. I always welcome a Chad Gable TV match. So of course I was very happy with this, Rob. And again, this is what I want to see out of Monday Night Raw. I don't come to Raw for the memes and the irony and the bullshit and the shitters. I come in because they employ some of the best wrestlers in the
I'm
world.
crying.
What's
Hold
up?
on, I'm crying.
Her hot breath got Gable. Yeah, probably did. Probably did. So
Yeah, I know that shit. Never mind. My fault, y'all. My fault, y'all. Eric, you're a nasty nigga, bro.
Chad Gable versus Ivar Rock. This is the type of matches I want to see on the show, featuring some of the better wrestlers in the mid card. What did you think of this, Rob?
Yo, I loved this live because I love Chad Gable because he knew how to start this match. Like he knew people wouldn't go up for the fucking, and obviously because he's facing a big man, but they wouldn't go up for like him attempting to do a wrestling takedown on him. So he just runs out, and I'm expecting like him to like them to like do a collar or something and do the usual collar the big man and the big man throws you. Yo, Chad Gable runs across the ring and does a fucking rolling capo kick, then starts doing fucking forearms and chops. And yo, that shit was so crazy. And then the fucking spot where the big spot to me of the match was when Ivar does a moonsault off the turnbuckle, and then Gable comes up and just deadlifts him out of the fucking him missing the moonsault, and then hitting a fucking I think he hit a bridging German on him, or did he just German him?
In the middle of the ring, he got a bridging German on him.
Bro, that's fucking yo. The crowd was super up for Gable, bro. And then after that, the spot where he fucking drops Gable on his head, and then hits the fucking moonsault. That shit was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was telling me on the way of us coming back here. He was like, "Yo, that nigga Ivar, he needs to just get studying on that fucking Vader and Bam Bam because he's really good." So that match was really good, and I love that due to all the talk. Like I noticed the talk on social media of like uh especially on Twitter of like certain wrestling shows having like Raw having a certain amount of time with wrestling matches, and that doesn't really matter when you get stuff like this. Like I know like Tommaso Ciampa, Chad Gable, like WWE has a certain way that they do things, and it's just like they knew to give this match the most time on the show, besides the main event, because they knew that Chad Gable is just coming back. This is his first match back, and even though he's getting it in a loss, not really a clean loss, but he's getting it in a loss. They knew that he had to showcase himself in a way that because the casual fans, they're not like AEW fans. I've been to both shows. They're not gonna watch a good match and then stay for the next good match. They're gonna watch a good match and get up and leave. And that's basically what they did after. Now it wasn't a good match, but a really heated match in Dom and in the Miz. That's why they put all that smoke and mirrors in the middle of it. And so when you watch this and you realize what they're doing is just like, oh, because they know the casual audience, they get exhausted in really good match. And that's what they did really after this was really after this, because right after this they threw on fucking Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. They always throw the women's tag matches in the dead spot, but yeah, it was a really good fucking match. I love Chad Gable. I love Ivar, and I'm very very glad that they got this time to do what they can do.
Absolutely, Rob. Well said. Well said. Um, but the big thing that everybody wanted to see, Rob, the big reason why the tickets were sold, the reason why we are here, it's fucking because CM Punk and Cody
Bro,
Rhodes
well,
went face to face. Um, Rob, before I even go through the summary, I want you to tell me about the atmosphere when these guys were coming out.
yo, I told you early in the show, people were getting up after that match to go do things and go do whatever it is they needed to do, and then all of a sudden everything went black. And then you hear the wrestling has more than one royal family, and all you see is people that were like in line to go take a piss, come back and just run, be like, "Oh shit, I didn't know this was next." Everybody come back running to their fucking seats. Fucking the woe is so fucking loud. The woe is literally so fucking loud, bro. And then the pop for Punk, obviously, I can't deny that there was a pop for Punk. I was the only one booing, sadly, because no, I wasn't really booing, but I wasn't really very excited. Um, and then the early CM Punk chants very much through his entrance, and then they did it's clobbering time was lazy. The second woe was louder than the first and louder than the CM Punk chants, in my opinion. So that shit was crazy. And then the whole atmosphere for them talking, it was like everybody. It was like how in New Japan like they get quiet for the wrestling, like they get quiet until something big happens. That was pretty much what they did here during this promo. It's like nobody said a word. You could hear a pen drop until the next line, and that's what I loved about it. It was a really really great atmosphere. And let's get into the real substance and the meat of the matter of what they said. Did I do the whoa? Yes. There's a video of me doing both of them.
You're a shameless guy.
Oh yeah, I was very much pro Cody for this little 10-minute segment here.
You're a shameless piece of shit, Rob.
Oh.
I want you to know that. I want you to know that. Let me give my dog some French fries here since he's trying to eat my food. Anyway, Rob, Cody Rhodes comes out first. Crowd is going insane. CM Punk follows. Crowd is going insane. Humongous CM Punk chants.
Yes. There were a lot of CM Punk chants. I was like, damn, bro. Like, this
Then
is
got some
crazy.
humongous Cody Rhodes counter chants.
Yes, I was part of the Cody counter chants.
The crowd is going insane. Two gigantic superstars face to face. These people are going insane. And my God, they shake each other's hands. This thing starts out cordial. Cody asks Punk what he wants to talk about. Punk says, I want to talk about your dad. And he basically explains the story that, listen, when you were signed on to Ohio Valley Wrestling in 2007, Dusty Rhodes called me and asked me to look after Cody Rhodes. And so, Jesus Christ, what's going on my other phone here? Sorry. But yeah, so he tells a story about how he was asked by Dusty to look after Cody. And he says it wasn't a hard job. And he said he watched Cody grow from a preliminary wrestler to a main event superstar. Punk says he's proud of Cody. Punk says he brings that story up because on Saturday, he feels like he'll be breaking a promise. The quote was, I won't be looking out for you. I'll be looking for you.
Yeah.
Punk says he'll do whatever he has to do. Cody says Punk is not alone in talking to Cody, but thinking about Dusty. Cody says it's a very large shadow, but he's done everything in his power since he left there to be the light in that shadow. Cody says the OVW story is true. Punk treated him like a peer in OVW. Cody says in the Royal Rumble, there are no friends. Punk says he knows that. But what about Sunday morning? Punk said he can separate personal from business. Can you? Cody very famously said that he left AEW due to a personal issue, so it's worth noting.
Yes.
Punk said that they have very different paths, but they have very similar goals. Punk pointed out that Cody's in a nice suit and he's in the shitty, sweat clothes that he wore in the gym in the morning. Punk said that his own father was an electrician, and he said that makes it ironic. I'm more of the American dream than you are.
Yo, the crowd popped heavy for that. Like
I
that
was
was loud as fucking there.
Oh my God. What did you think of that one, Rob?
Yo, that fucking segment, bro. Like
Oh
it
no,
was just
no, we're not. I'm just
no,
talking
the like the line itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, the American Dream line. I was getting flustered. I was like, oh shit, yo, Cody, you gotta, Cody, bro, you gotta do
Because
something.
look, Cody is he is a nepo baby, and his father was a wrestler, But anyways, Cody says, "All right, I want to talk about the pipe bomb," and it's like, "Oh shit." Cody said Punk rattled off a formula for Revolution, but then Punk left. He said that when Punk left, he really left. And he said when he left, he didn't pass the torch. He just dropped it on the way out. And Cody said, I picked it up. And he said everything that Punk talked about, Cody did, which is true. Rob, in the pipe bomb, he said, maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor. Maybe I'll go back. Maybe I'll go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know who did that, Rob?
Cody
Cody.
Rhodes.
He went to Ring of Honor. He went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He started the revolution for hardcore wrestling fans. He created a promotion which created, he helped create a promotion that created so many new jobs for new wrestlers. But yeah, so Cody said everything he talked about, I did. And he said, so what's actually ironic is that makes me more CM Punk.
Yo, when he said that makes me more CM Punk than you, it wasn't even like when Punk said the American Dream. Yo, niggas was in the building. Yo, go, oh shit, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that fucking just them going bar for bar, line for line was so good, and you could just tell that the atmosphere and the energy it wasn't like real between them. It was kind of like it's kind of like the one of the super chats said where it's kind of the you and your friend talking shit while playing games. It's like y'all are not serious, but y'all are kind of serious. So I love that.
A lot of escalating personal tension as this thing is going on. And like I said,
He's like, I bet you're more the American dream. Well, I'm more of a revolutionary, brother. I don't know what to tell you.
yep. Cody says, all right, let me give you the true CM Punk road to WrestleMania experience. And took his shirt off and said, you're more CM Punk than me? I mean, he told him, he said, listen, you have been carrying this company on your back for 2 soul-crushing years. And right when you're about to cross the finish line and finish your story, oh, what's that in the distance? It's a much bigger superstar coming to take your spot. And everyone thinks he's talking about The Rock, which he is. It's a double entendre. But then he went on to say, and I'm talking about me. Cody said his dad was his best friend, and he often liked to quote John Wayne. He said his favorite quote was that courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. Cody says he has only one direction, and that direction goes through you. And Cody walks past Punk and bumps him, and Punk pulls him in, and they go nose to nose. The crowd is going fucking insane. The building is losing their minds. They threw the Royal Rumble graphic on the corner screen, and this is big stakes, Rob. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, both guys have done something to prove. They both got to win the Rumble. They both have stories to finish. Punk needs to finish his story in main event WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes has to prove to everybody he's the guy, because here's the thing, Rob. He has been the top dude for 2 years. He is the guy. He is the man. He's the cover of WWE 2K. But at the end of the day, he has not beaten Roman Reigns. He has not come through on his promise to his father. And so he can say all he wants about being more CM Punk than CM Punk, but CM Punk has gotten it done at the biggest stage, and Cody Rhodes has not. And so huge personal stakes. They got their true feelings out of there. Can they still be friends on Sunday morning? Who the fuck knows? All I know is these are two of the biggest stars in the company, face to face, and they both have big stakes going into the Rumble. What do you think?
I do agree with you in the sentiment that these are like two of the biggest stars in the company. I like even though people I objectively have to say these are literally two of the biggest stars in the company. Literally fucking I loved also the shot of like what they did. It's like Cody going on one side of the ring, Punk going on the other side, and it basically was like symbolic of one guy was going on his side out on his own path to WrestleMania, and the other guy was going out on the other side towards his path towards WrestleMania. I really like that experience. This whole segment, just like this entire 10 to 15 minutes that this took place, was like one of the best. It's literally the best promo segment that I've ever been live for at any wrestling TV taping that I've went through. It was basically we're gonna go bar for bar and throw verbal jabs at each other as friends to set the tone on the really good go home show. And that's what I pretty much loved about it is that they didn't shoot, but they went as close toward the shoot line as they possibly could go. And so yeah, I love this. I love this. We need more of this. We need more of this and less of what the other shit. So
Big time stuff, man. Really got you ready for the Rumble. I'm ready to go.
I was ready to. I was yo. He said that makes me more serious. I was ready to run through the wall. I was
Let's
ready to storm
fucking
the ring.
let's fucking go. Awesome shit. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark beat Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and after the match, Damage Control showed up to beat up the women in the ring, and they're building to a match against Kaden and Katana on SmackDown for the tag titles. I hope they win that match. I hope you don't prolong this because obviously they're the inevitable tag team champions. I hope they don't prolong this with some Bailey bullshit. Just get right to it. Just get right to it. So that's the deal.
I just don't think that WWE management likes me for trying to make me watch a Indy Hartwell match live and in person.
It's very aggressive.
It's very, very disgusting. I really don't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very mean. That's all I can say with that. Very, very excited to see Damage Control take the fucking tag belts away from Kanan and Katana. They've had a couple good matches throughout their reign, but realistically, we all know where this is going. Damage Controls win tag belts. Hey Bailey, all of us are holding up our own end of the bargain over here, except for
Yep,
you.
yep.
So
Drew had an interview where he basically was just kind of talking his shit, and Jackie asked him if he had any opinions on Cody and Punk's words, and he said he didn't. And he said they're following his footsteps as someone who's won the main event of Mania. And Drew just kind of took shots at Damian Priest and said he rattled off the names like that he beat. Like he named guys like Goldberg, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. He said being the champion of the pandemic was very important to him. And he's had people say that they've saved their lives, that he saved their lives by continuing to wrestle. So he doesn't want to hear any more of it. Tonight he wrestles Damian Priest and shows why there can only be one chosen one. And we get to the match here. And I got to say, it was pretty flat. It actually wasn't particularly good, in my opinion. It suffered from a tired crowd and also suffered from the fact that neither guy is a babyface. And Drew
yes,
McIntyre is very much like this kind of heel-leaning tweener, and Damian Priest is a heel. And so they're just kind of having this like kind of clunky match with no heat. And it was just kind of going in that direction. And then to make matters worse, they start furthering the R-Truth comedy because he tries to give Drew McIntyre his money here, and not Drew, Damian Priest his money, and Priest is like, yo, but what the fuck are you doing? Like, not right now. Basically, is what he's like, not right now. And so R-Truth got too involved here, and it cost Priest the match, and Priest lost. And Priest shoved R-Truth, and so it looks like he's pissed at him. I at this point, I want to know what the
I
pay.
don't really. I'll wait. I disagree. I don't really see Drew as a heel right now. I see him as like a tweener because
That's what I
he's
said.
basically.
Heel leaning tweener.
Oh, okay. I thought you said heel. My bad. I
Mm-hmm.
was reading something. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So
And I'll give you my take from the building.
Drew McIntyre got the win here, and it was because Truth got too involved. Priest lost, and he just looked like a dipshit. You know, he just looked like a fucking dipshit. And so he shoved Truth, and so he's not happy with him. I'd like this to be paid off sooner rather than later, but nevertheless, he got the he lost here, and we'll see what happens next. Look, I'd like DIY to win the tag titles next week personally, so maybe they do something to further that. But that was the end of Raw, and it definitely felt like one of those things where Punk and Cody was the real main event at 10:30, and so once that was done, it was kind of like there was not really much left to see, and the people got what they needed. And I know I got what I needed, but that was kind of the deal there. What did you think, Rob?
As much as I loved it, I think Punk and Cody should have closed the show. I don't think the match was bad and bad worked. I think that what they were going for, like you said, they were going for what they were going for was good and the work was decent, but the crowd was just way too tired. The crowd had already had like several high points throughout the show with the New Day thing and all the other stuff that I think that by this time, like you said, they were tired. And so they didn't need a 13-minute fucking TV match with chin locks and all these different like the near falls were good. I liked the near falls. I didn't think this match was particularly good. I thought it was decent, but the near falls were good. Near falls. It's just that you couldn't get the crowd to care because basically we already came to see what we wanted to see, pretty much.
Absolutely,
Uh, and so that's why I think the match was very underwhelming, and I think that this and the CM Punk and Cody segment should have been switched. If CM Punk and Cody didn't begin the show, I always go this with the like the biggest stars on the show. If the biggest stars on the show don't begin the show, then they should end the show. or if they don't begin the show, they should at least start the third hour, the second hour.
I will say this. I will say this. Um, Selfishly, I have no problem with when Punk and Cody happened because I would have been kind of cranky sitting through this whole 3 hour fucking show to get to that because I know that's how I felt with the first time Punk came on Raw. So them getting it out the way and then allowing me to just kind of zone out for the rest of the show is kind of fine by me, to be honest. But you're probably right. You're probably right. You probably should just save because that was the money go home angle. That was like the angle where you're like, watch the fucking Rumble, you know. So uh, that's kind of what happened there. Folks, this is your last opportunity to get some super chats in. We're winding things down here. We're gonna go through these and then kind of get up out of here. But yeah, man, what an eventful show, man. We covered a lot here between the TKO news with The Rock and just all the other news between TV rights deals with Netflix and Raw and the contract stuff. But yeah, guys, if you have anything you want to say to us about any of this news, about anything you want to talk about, feel free to send the super chat and kind of get through it. Rob, let's go through some of the remaining ones that we have on deck.
All right, Will Chisholm, $5. That New Japan Pro Wrestling bump Gable took was Triple H telling Okada and Julia, "Y'all can work strong style here as well."
Maybe. Shout out to New Japan, Rob. They've crossed 4,500 tickets sold for Windy City Riot in Chicago. So their business in the United States is like kind of it's heating up. It's pretty random to be honest with you, but shout out to them.
No, dead ass. Shout out to them. They're doing really good. Hush, 4.99. It's early, but we all saw those people get over in 2023. Who y'all think is getting over and big in 24? Whether as a heel or face, I think Waller. You go first.
I think genuinely that this is going to be a strong year for Pete Dunne. I think this is going to be a good year for Pete Dunne. I would hope it's a big year for Dragon Lee. And what I would like to see is full-time call-ups for a lot of those guys in NXT that have been there for 2-3 years now. It's time to get to the point with Carmelo Hayes. It's time to really get to the point with Tiffany Stratton. It's time to get to the point with Roxanne and Braun Breaker. I'd like all those wrestlers to be on the main roster by the end of the year. And I think that WWE should make it a mission to do so and to get them over. So that's kind of my answer to this question.
No, I think the same thing. I think the same thing in terms of I think a lot of guys that are younger should start getting over. The younger 30-year-olds, the older 30-year-olds, and the 40-year-olds should be like what Bobby Lashley's in, the position that he's in,
Mm.
basically getting the Street Profits. So because the Street Profits are younger, so he should be in a position getting them over. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see where this Final Testament thing goes. I don't know if you touched on that, but I'm really intrigued to see where the Final Testament goes. Especially since the Authors of Pain are back. I like the Authors of Pain. Ibu likes the Authors of Pain, and it's really about them more than it is Cross. Cross, you gotta change that finisher, brother. It's not gonna work out. But yeah, I think Waller will get over as well, and Mello. Mello is definitely gonna get over because he does things the crowd will like. So
For sure. Thank you.
so Jizzle 4.99. FYI, Netflix deal not that great considering into what does it say? And all
It says, for your information, Netflix deal not that great.
no the after
Oh,
considering.
internal portion. I do not.
And okay, the internal portion. Brandon Thurston estimates that it's really closer to 1.3 times, which is pretty mid.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. I would much rather prefer them on cable, but it is what it is. I mean, if that's the only deal that they could get, which I don't think that's the only deal that they could get, but it was a deal that they could get, and they basically got offered $5 billion fucking dollars. So why not? You
Yeah,
know?
I think Nick Khan just ran the numbers and said, I prefer this over FX or whatever else they could go. And look, he gets paid the big bucks to determine these things, and if he felt that this was the best deal, then I guess it was the best deal.
Um, yeah, I mean, is what it is. And then Will Chisholm, $5. That Okada NXT was funny. If Vince was still here, I would believe he would try to sell NXT to him.
Maybe, but the current NXT, like, here's the thing: if this was like maybe 2018, Okada probably would go to NXT for a year, and like that would fit, and that would actually be pretty cool. The current NXT is just not an environment that he should be in, and nor will he be in.
Yeah, no, I don't. He just he doesn't need that. I don't think he would fit in WWE at all, really. To be pretty fair, unless he's on like a Brock Lesnar deal, right? But like, there's not like you can't see an Okada 10-minute fucking TV match because it's not gonna. He's not. That's not what Okada does. Everything Okada does is really big, pause in like 20 minutes. So
Right. Yep. Yep.
wait, check private chat.
What number would the just over the 5 million? Yeah. Just yes. Anyway.
Sebastian Lozano 199. Any update on the Sammy return? Perhaps a Royal Rumble surprise.
I don't know. He could come back at the Rumble.
I think I think he's one of the returns that are happening at the Rumble. Because I this is not anything I've like heard or anything. I just expect because the surgery that they said Ray got was
Mm-hmm.
not it wasn't really going to take him a long time to come back. So I expect like
Ray's, Ray,
him.
Ray's probably gonna be at the Rumble.
Yeah, like I think he's gonna be in the wrong and basically eliminate Santos, and I think that Sammy's gonna be the one to eliminate Drew McIntyre. So, but
Yep.
we'll see, we'll see. And yeah, that's the last super chat I think for today. So,
Well, folks, I guess with that said, then I want to thank everybody because this is a really fun show we did here. Like I said, it was the biggest uh, Raw review we've done with a ton of big news, and you guys hung out and we kind of went through the whole thing. So, yeah, man, we'll see what happens with everything. Honestly, the TV rights, the next lead play-by-play for SmackDown, Cody Rhodes' future. But I can tell you that I had fun today. So, uh, for Rob, I am Ebu of Wrestle Pierce, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Raw review. We'll see you next week. Dumb Guy Live tonight.